Commander Nation, this is life or death. An unknown rookie is lurking in the shadows ready to steal the defensive spotlight. But a tackle mistake and we're back to 2022. Can this underdog save the season? Meanwhile, our veteran, CB sacrifices blood in practice, challenging the entire league. We became the nightmare they feared. But beware, a disciplined failure and the dream bleeds out. And amid the chaos, Scary Terry, our hero, considers the exit. Will we let him take the soul of the team for $8 million? Every second counts. Adam Peters playing with fire. If you don't click now, how will you know if we are glory or our tragedy? After years of watching this team struggle with the linebacker position, with players seemingly running in circles, do you remember those dark days in the 2022 season when the defense seemed like a sieve? Thinking of all we've suffered and how the previous staff with Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio couldn't make our linebackers read plays well. Oh my, what times! It seemed like Jamin Davis and Cody Barton would hit the wrong hole every other time. It was frustrating, right? But now, with Adam Peters at the helm and Dan Quinn as our head coach, things have changed. And I tell you this, there's new hope, a golden opportunity for a rookie no one had on the radar when Adam Peters, our GM, picked Kain Medrano in the 6th round of the 2025 NFL Draft. I think many of us raised an eyebrow. Our first 3 picks offensive. Line, cornerback, and wide receiver were obvious positions of need. But Peters yet had not addressed our biggest wish, an edge rusher. Before Medrano, many thought he would go for an unproven talented edge, or perhaps double down on one of the other positions of need. Instead, he took the UCLA product. This athletically gifted linebacker stood out as a sort of tweener, a player who didn't perfectly fit into a traditional position. Medrano was a bit smaller than the prototype second-level defender, making him a bit light for a pure inside linebacker, but not as fluid and fast as an elite safety for a full-time secondary. Role. Where would he fit in an NFL defense? That was the question we were all asking in the DMV. Now, I ask you, do you believe Peters didn't know what he was doing? I believe he did. And now I tell you why. Although Medrano was a linebacker at UCLA, he was probably drafted in Washington to play the hybrid role Jeremy Chinn held in 2024. Chinn went to the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Commanders have several raw talents on the roster who could fill his shoes. The incoming rookie was drafted to compete against players like Tyler Owens and Percy Butler. But here's what's interesting. What gives us a glimmer of hope? The fans of Burgundy and Gold. Jordan McGee got injured again. No way. This is frustrating news for the team and for McGee himself, who has dealt with recurring injuries. But you know what? This opens a massive door. Medrano will have many opportunities in the hybrid linebacker safety role. But now, with McGee's absence, he should have a big opportunity to take on a key backup role at traditional linebacker in Washington's first preseason game against the New England Patriots. The Commanders will likely keep 5 or 6 linebackers on their roster. Part of this is semantic. Von Miller, for example, is listed as a linebacker, but that's only because Washington doesn't use the edge rusher designation as a position. Miller, like Dante Fowler Jr. last year, is an edge rusher who will play in passing situations and attack. He won't be tasked with dropping into coverage like a traditional linebacker would. Another of the current Commanders' linebackers is Nick Bellor. Except in an emergency, he won't take defensive snaps. He's on the team for his exceptional special teams play. Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner are set as starters. Both were selected to the second-team All-Pro last year. The plan was for McGee, drafted in 2024, to see more field time in 2025, but it seems the injury bug has bitten him again. The team hasn't revealed the nature of his injury. However, it was serious enough to keep him out of this week's practice and the preseason game against the Patriots. This is a golden opportunity for the other Washington linebackers, and Medrano is first in line. He has the physical tools to play the position, but an NFL linebacker needs to be able to quickly diagnose plays amidst the chaos. In recent seasons, we fans have seen how many problems aggressive, athletic second-level defenders like Jamin Davis and Cody Barton have had making the right reads. It seemed they went off script by attacking the wrong hole every 2 snaps, missing assignments, and creating openings for opponents. That could have been the coaching and scheme's fault, but also inexperience. Presumably, the Commanders have a much better staff now, with Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. bringing a new vision. And all the young Washington linebackers will immensely benefit from playing with Bobby Wagner, a true coach on the field, a defensive mastermind who can guide Medrano on every snap. I tell you this, with Bobby Wagner, Medrano has the best teacher possible to learn how to read the game and position himself correctly. Now I ask you, do you believe this kid could be the missing link we've been looking for? Against New England, watch Medrano to see if he's in the right position first, if he doesn't go off script, and if his reads are quick. Then watch his tackling technique, which was considered weak in college. If he manages to tackle people consistently and safely, he could be taking a big step forward. The Commanders have several other young linebackers waiting for a chance to show what they can do. Dominique Hampton has transitioned from safety to linebacker, but has struggled to make his mark. Cam Arnold made the move from safety to linebacker early in his college career and could be the closest thing Washington has to Michael Walker. And Medrano's teammate at UCLA, Ao Kaho, brings extensive experience from both the Bruins and Alabama, along with proven special teams production. A player like Kaho could press Bellows' role if he can make plays on special teams. But Medrano aims higher. Washington needs another playmaking linebacker. Wagner didn't miss a beat last year, but he's at an age where players usually suffer. Injuries and depth at that position is crucial for a long season. Even if he stays healthy, Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. showed how Luvu can be all over the field last year, and having another reliable linebacker would free up Luvu to use his versatility to attack the quarterback or cover in the slot. Finding another reliable linebacker would free him up to move. At the start of training camp, it seemed McGee would be that new linebacker. That's now up in the air, and Medrano finds the door wide open for him to step in and prove his worth. This is an opportunity we cannot ignore. We Commanders fans know that for a long time, we were the laughingstock of the league. After years of suffering with teams that showed no character, that let themselves be trampled on the field, we finally have an organization that's changing. Do you remember when we were a walkover? Those days are over, baby. The arrival of Adam Peters and Dan Quinn has transformed the locker room culture. And I tell you this is the mindset we need to compete in this league. Joint practices. Always bring an extra fire between players who have spent the preseason competing with their teammates. It's the first time in months that they face real opponents, and that pent-up energy, that thirst for competition, always threatens to overflow. That turned out to be the case between the Washington Commanders and the New England Patriots, something that pleased our veteran cornerback Marshon Lattimore. Things heated up on a couple of occasions during the session, notably when 2 opposing linemen, driven by adrenaline and competition, got into a skirmish, causing both benches to empty in an instant. Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel tried to separate things and ended up with a bloody cheek for his efforts. That's burgundy and gold, baby. Now I ask you, do you think this is a coincidence? That this skirmish is just an isolated incident? I believe it's not. Marshon Lattimore issued a warning that the Commanders won't back down without a fight. Although, this goes against Dan Quinn's pleas before practice to maintain composure and discipline. Lattimore believes it showcases the fighting spirit within the Commanders. He sees this aggression as a sign that the team is ready for combat. And if others don't like it, maybe they're in the wrong business. We're fighters. I love that. Fighting mentally and physically. I love seeing that from a young team too, ready to do whatever it takes. That's football. It's a physical sport. If that's too physical for you, You shouldn't be playing. That's how Martian Lattimore put it, and I tell you this, he's absolutely right, Dot. It's not surprising to see Lattimore adopt this mentality. He's never backed down from a challenge. He plays right to the edge, sometimes crossing the line, especially when facing elite receivers like Mike Evans or, more recently, A.J. Brown. Do you remember those matchups? They were pure dynamite. Lattimore is changing the mentality, but the groundwork was laid long before his trade to the Commanders was sealed. Dan Quinn set out to completely change the locker room culture from the moment he arrived. The old environment of complacency and defeat has been eradicated. Washington stopped being a walkover, a team that opponents could easily beat. The team stopped being the league's laughingstock. They wanted to be more competitive and let everyone know that, win, lose, or draw, they would leave absolutely everything on the field until the end. Fighting for every inch. Dot. Now, I ask you, do you think the Cowboys, the Eagles, or the Giants have this same mentality? While Jerry Jones worries about marketing, and the Eagles about their superstars, we're building a warrior culture, a team that plays with a chip on its shoulder. I believe this is what will take us to the next level. Of course, effectively channeling. This aggression is crucial. It's not about being undisciplined, but about playing with controlled ferocity. There's a good mix of youth and experience on the team, and veterans like Lattimore and Wagner are key to guiding the younger players. Taking things too far can be reckless, especially in a game day environment where penalties can cost victories. It's about being physically committed, being the most physical team on the field, while maintaining supreme focus on the task at hand. For us fans, it's encouraging to see the growing bond between players, how they stand up for each other. Lattimore had no problem with what happened. He even praised the young Patriots team for not backing down either, acknowledging that competition brings out the best in both sides. This is part of the game, and anyone not matching Washington's intensity will be left in the dust this season. The Commanders are preparing for war with higher expectations on their shoulders. Based on this joint practice, they are embracing the challenge with their usual determination and purpose. May it last long. Commanders fans, this is historic. After watching our team suffer for so many years, with quarterbacks coming and going, with seasons ending in disappointment, we always had a constant, a light in the darkness, our captain, our scary Terry. He's been here, giving 100% on every snap, even when the team gave him nothing. Do you remember those impossible catches he made? How he always topped 1,000 yards no matter who threw him the ball? From the Carson Wentz and Taylor Heinicke era in 2022 to Jaden Daniels' arrival in the 2024 draft, Terry McLaurin has been the face of the franchise, the epitome of professionalism and consistency. And now, nitrogen monoxide way. We are in a situation that breaks our hearts. Terry McLaurin remains inactive in the Washington Commanders training camp while seeking a contract extension before entering the final year of his deal. His absence from practice not only affects his own preparation, but also creates uncertainty and concern in the locker room and among fans. Our 29-year-old receiver earned his first All-Pro selection in 2024, irrefutable proof of his value and status as one of the best receivers in the league. However, despite this achievement, he has issued a trade request from the team he spent his entire career with as this slow negotiation continues. There haven't been many positive comments from either McLaurin or the Commanders organization. Regarding this impasse, and ESPN's latest report isn't much better. On Get Up, insider Jeremy Fowler explained how the Commanders and their star are in a classic standoff, a deadlock situation where neither party wants to give in. They've been far apart, said Fowler, according to Bleacher Report. McLaurin has wanted DK Metcalf contract metrics, which are $32 million annually. I'm told the Washington Commanders have only been slightly above where he was before, which is $23 million. So take that gap. It's $7 to $8 million they have to close. McLaurin is set to accumulate a $25 million Cap hit this season, but he's firmly standing by his desire for a raise that places him in the top tier of the league's receivers. This puts the Commanders in an incredibly difficult situation, as they'd like to keep their star, but he isn't budging on what they likely consider a fair offer compared to the rest of the market, especially considering his age. Now I ask you, do you think Adam Peters is making his first big mistake by not giving in? Or is he being smart considering Terry's age and the contract's long-term value? It's not unreasonable to defend McLaurin for wanting to rise to the top level of receivers regarding compensation, as his production justifies it. However, at his age, it's a risk Washington is obviously hesitating on. McLaurin is 2 years older than Metcalf and 3 years older than T. Higgins, who at 26 already rakes in nearly $28 million as the Cincinnati Bengals WR2. Comparing age, production, and projected contract value, McLaurin aligns better with players like Cortland Sutton, $23 million APY, and Mike Evans, $20.5 million a year. Spotrick's projected APY of $24.5 million for McLaurin puts him closer to Calvin Ridley and Chris Godwin. But obviously, these salaries fall short of what's scary Terry demands, who seeks to be compensated as an elite WR1. Meanwhile, the phone lines have been burning up since his trade request, according to NFL Network. Other teams are calling, exploring the possibility of acquiring an all-pro receiver. The longer this drags on, the more you start to wonder if Washington is considering a move because McLaurin is too difficult to move from this financial request, and if the value of a first-round pick could be more attractive in the long run. I tell you this, if we lose McLaurin, the impact on our offense will be devastating. Do you remember the Hail Mary against Chicago in 2024? McLaurin was there, making the play when it mattered most. His ability to be a constant sideline threat and his reliability in pressure situations are irreplaceable. Now I ask you, do you think the Cowboys would let Dak Prescott go that easily? Or the Eagles let Jalen Hurts go? The Giants are still dealing with their own contract issues, and here we are with our best player in limbo. It's a situation that tests the franchise's new leadership. As this standoff persists, John Keim of ESPN noted that the Commanders' offense noticed the absence of McLaurin's production in their joint practice Wednesday with the New England Patriots, citing a clear lack of explosiveness and no real sideline threat. The passes that would normally go to him had no clear destination, and the offense lacked that spark that only Scary Terry can provide. The 6-year veteran has been a focal point of Washington's passing game since his rookie season. In each of the last 5 seasons, McLaurin has totaled at least 1,000 receiving yards and 70 receptions, an astonishing consistency despite the instability at the quarterback position. In a revamped receiving corps with Deebo Samuels, a rival, McLaurin's reliable presence and leadership are crucial for the Commanders to see similar success to their 12-win campaign in 2024. This is clear to both parties, but it might hinge on who gives in first to decide how this dispute ends. Will McLaurin lower his expectations, or will the Commanders break their stance and give him the contract he demands? This is a critical situation, fans. We can't lose him. How crucial do you think Kain Medrano adapting to his new hybrid linebacker role will be, especially with Jordan McGee's injury opening the door wide for him? Do you believe he can be the player we need to stabilize that position that's long troubled us? And speaking of the new mentality, do you think the aggression and fighting spirit Marshon Lattimore is injecting into the team are key for the Commanders to stop being a walkover and become true contenders in the NFC East? Or could this intensity lead to unnecessary penalties? Lastly, the question keeping us all on edge. Should the Commanders give in to Terry McLaurin's contract demands to secure his stay? Or is it time for Adam Peters to show a firm hand and protect the team's financial future, risking losing our captain? What would you do in this situation? We are a family, the Commanders family in the DMV. And if you love this team as much as I do, if you live and breathe the burgundy and gold, then you have to be part of this community. Don't miss out on the conversation, the deepest analysis, and the most genuine passion for our commanders. Join. Subscribe to the channel right now, hit the bell so you don't miss a single news update, and share this video with every fan you know. Together, we'll make this voice resonate throughout the league. And remember, hail to the Redskins!